Too many superhero movies. Too many superhero movies. Too many superhero. I don't really care.
As with every art form, everyone can have their own opinion on something, and they would all at the same time be right, because things like music, TV, and film are subjective. There's no equations to work out, and there are no definitive answers. A movie looked down on by the majority could be just one guy's favourite film, and no one could say anything to prove him wrong. But at the same time, there's always someone on the other side saying, "Mate, the fuck is that? How is that your favourite? You blind? Doesn't even got any fucking superheroes in it, for fuck's sake!" So naturally, this leads on to a conflict between two opposing opinions. But why is this? Why are we so protective on what we enjoy watching, what we rate highly, what we like, favourite and retweet, and other social media references? Is it cause he's an idiot? No, it's not. It's because humans are emotional creatures. We could stare at a tree for like an hour, and it's likely we would form a small bond with it. Huh. Wait, what? However, the director put a certain sequence of images along with sound together in that specific situation of when you watched it. It creates an emotional recall to something inside of you that made you think, yeah man, I get that. Cool. When you're a kid, you take in everything that goes on around you. Relationships with people, picking up hobbies and interests, including movies, games and TV. You take on board all of these things you grew up on as part of what defines you. So when Bumboy99 shit replies to your comment with, "You're wrong, kill yourself, please, or I'll have to do it," it's why you reply with, "No thank you, I'd rather not, for I still support my past claim even when confronted with such a threat." Cunt. We stand by these opinions with such a high level of defense that to let someone invade and attack something that we think so much of just crosses the line, innit? We think so highly of our absolute favourite pieces of media that every time a new version or a sequel of that thing comes out, we want to see it. The same goes for everything in between. I like the actor in that, so I'll see this. Ali directed from this, so I'll see that, and so on. What we're familiar with is the strongest selling point for making anything, especially if the thing costs millions of dollars. And so the viewer and Hollywood go hand in hand, walking down Nostalgia Valley, as the two opposite ends of the spectrum either say, "I understood the reference, this isn't real life now. That one act from that thing is playing my favourite thingy, is now my favourite." Or, "I don't really know what this thing is, but if everyone else has seen it and knows about it, I may as well go see it." But that's not bullshit. This has been going on for decades. Whether it be from folklore, novels, or famous plays, adaptations have been a part of film's history since the birth of the medium, as the general slate of big releases each year consisted of both original movies along with some known properties. And so far, this has been going pretty well. Shitloads of money was being made, and studio heads looked at each other and went, "Mate, it's going pretty well. Let's not stop doing this." However, there's been such an increase in the known properties section that, to be honest, it's actually gotten a bit fucking ridiculous. To the point where it almost seems awkward now. It's like walking down the street after saying a heartfelt goodbye to an old friend, and then seeing them again after turning a street corner. It's like, mate, how, you're right? The truth is that the mainstream media's target audience is as many people as possible, also known as the masses, also known as big dumb idiots. The choice between seeing something you already know or something original you've never heard of ain't much of a choice to the casual moviegoer, with ticket prices going up and up each year, and what we know of the cinema-going experience becoming more irrelevant as the years go by. The masses have to pick and choose wisely on what film to see that weekend. What better than that thing I loved 20 years ago? But again, it's possible that all of media itself could churn out new versions of everything it's made up until this point for forever, with each passing generation of people consuming the same plate of food but with a slightly different, mediocre recipe. We're already seeing the system switch from 80s to 90s nostalgia, as well as taking into account what people online are looking back at. Soon, we'll have rebooted everything we've made up to this point, then we'll forget where we started, and then reboot our reboots again. But fucking hell, who wants that? On the other hand, we're already fucking there, so we must... God damn, it's taking so long. It has to be fucking August by now. Let's slow it down. Okay, I won't be amazing at this, so bear with me. Don't with the comments, just calm down, alright? This is the stop motion. It seems that Hollywood is looking at reboots and known IPs as getting as much cash as they can out of them as a sort of failsafe for their ever-increasing potential of their movies being box office bombs. But fuck it. There are so many generalizations to be made about the studio system, as the internet can pigeonhole us into thinking that the most upvoted comment must be fact and or the right way of thinking. Box office results are one big guessing game. Studios thinking they know what audiences want are unbelievably hit and miss, and the rationale that if you're not an animated animal movie, Marvel movie, a significantly lucky low-budget horror, a well-marketed Disney movie, or have a big name attached, you won't make your money back. Actually, wait a minute, Disney really do know their shit, they're like untouchable. Other than that, all of their aspects are just one big fat maybe. Over the past couple years though, it seems that actually matters now whether a film is good or not. Word spreads around quicker than ever, and if your movie's shit, the internet won't wait around to tell you. Critical reception, word of mouth, your poster, your trailer, all have an effect bigger than ever on a film's box office. There are cases where the marketing of a film is so good that the general audience will see it no matter what the reviews say. But maybe none of this even matters, considering the rise of China's market share on the worldwide box office. They've become such a huge player in a film's earnings. They've risen from 1% to a nearly 20% share, and in the next 5 years will probably become the largest influence on box office results worldwide. Even when the profits made over there doesn't mean it will save a movie from bombing. Along with complications with the Chinese government, its relationship with Japan and Sony, and the rules for no excessive use of magical coasts kind of backpedaling its influence a bit, it's possible we could see Hollywood turn their entire business over there, and we'll all have to learn Mandarin to watch the next Transformers. But talk to Matt Damon, he knows more than me. In fact, generalizations play such a huge part in internet culture that throughout this video you've probably got it in your mind that the entire film industry is completely fucked. Wrong. Wrong? Wrong. To put this into perspective, let's go back to 70s New Hollywood. Who wouldn't romanticize a time when independent filmmakers ruled the studios and creative freedom within the system was at its peak? Basically, from the mid-60s, films like Bonnie and Clyde and The Graduate made studios turn their heads and go, oh shit, young people, what? And then Dennis Hopper came along with the now legendary independent film Easy Rider for like super cheap, and it went on to become extremely successful. At which point, Hollywood decided to pay attention to what was going on with all these damn young people. This caused a movement shifting attention to independent and innovative works from this new wave of directors like Martin Scorsese, Brian De Palma, Francis Ford Coppola, Robert Altman, George Lucas, and Steven Spielberg. This is why when you hear about those classic movies you absolutely have to watch, most of them come from this era. But that would be a generalization, wouldn't it? What eventually happened was films like Jaws and Star Wars paved way for studios to see the possibilities in what is now known as a summer blockbuster, a movie they could spend all their money on to enhance the amount of money that they get back. New Hollywood then faded away when producers started to focus on event films with wide commercial success, putting the nail in the coffin with Michael Cimino's Heaven's Gate, a movie with a budget equivalent to $125 million today that bombed to fuck, as well as getting the word out there to moviegoers and studios that, yeah, we should probably stop giving these young people so much money. From there you could say it hasn't been the same since, and that studio interference is everything wrong with the film industry nowadays, which is really unfair considering none of us know what goes on behind the scenes, and all of the times that studio interference doesn't harm or even helps the film, it's not worth writing about because at that point they're just doing their jobs. Fast forward to 2016, the year of critically slammed blockbusters, or was that 2015? Anyway, the question is, where are all the original IPs? Where are those innovative films we got in the 70s? Well, they are here, just nobody goes to see them, because they don't get the marketing that they deserve. It seems most new creative voices have migrated to television, Netflix, Amazon Prime, and other streaming services. Or maybe this reboot copy of a copy culture we live in has affected who we are as people, and digital cameras give us so much freedom that average is enough for us, and there's no more unique voices around to secure interest anymore. But I don't know, I think I doubt that. There are so many great small to mid-budget movies out there. The only problem is that not enough money is being spent on them. Not to mention the floods of foreign films only accessible to a general audience thanks to sites like Mubi, and not much else really. Studios and companies like Annapurna Pictures, Bold Pictures, and A24 and Studio Canal that specialize in finance, production, and distribution for small to mid-tier films are great for creators, as more risks can be taken with budgets of $50 million. In an ideal world, Disney, 20th Century Fox, Paramount, Universal, and all them buggers would spend all their money on those low to mid-budget movies, and every theatre would be packed with original movies from unknown directors and writers, and fuck, I mean, how great would that be? But that would just be romanticizing the 70s. The system, as it always has, runs on bandwagons, the current bandwagon being cinematic universes. The sheer context of producing various films that are essentially sequels to one another goes against the core idea of creative freedom within a production. Since Marvel Studios are the tentpole to copy, each studio needs their own Kevin Feige, the really real director of all Marvel films. We already have a Hanna-Barbera universe coming up, a Universal's Monsters universe, a DC universe, a Lego universe, King Kong, Godzilla, Star Wars, Transformers, Harry Potter, Jurassic Park, Alien, and there's no way to accurately predict whether this tradition of bringing up the past will stop. You could say it would be a succession of box office failures bombing one after another, causing a huge rethink on the formula, but even then that's too open-ended to decide straight away. Has this age of an audience for everything froze the way that media works and is now running on a constant cycle of itself in panic mode? Will we ever see that much of a difference in what we already have? I don't know. All in all, we're all pussies. Both audiences and studios literally can't afford to take risks anymore, and what happens now is anybody's guess. Society loves consistency, routines, and familiarity because we're all comfortable with it. It's what we already know. It's why change for anything is so hard. This fascination of what we already know being the biggest selling point has always been a human thing, and I think the internet just shines a light on it. There's way more content on talking about film than there are film. Reviews, countdowns, video essays, podcasts, and the majority of them get a fuck ton of views because it's comforting to listen to your own opinion be validated by someone online. The passion is so strong that there are communities being born out of both love and hate for certain properties. But calm down, mate. Why is that such a bad thing? Why can't I enjoy this revival of childhood memories on the big screen? I'm not saying you can't, mate. Just remember, when a reboot disappoints you, it's not personal, it's not your fault, it's mostly for money. Hollywood is a business. Actively scouting popular franchises is a business decision. So long as it sells, then why stop? So long as you buy the tickets, they won't. Everything has to be marketed to gain recognition. Posters on billboards are just as valuable as what's featured on your Netflix queue. In fact, Netflix and Amazon are paying more than big studios now for feature films shown at festivals like Sundance, giving them both a streaming platform as well as a theatrical run, albeit a limited one. This is partly why TV and streaming have been doing so great lately. They have the platform and resources to take the risks that big studios won't. The system kind of has to rebuild itself in some form if it wants to keep up with the modern age. Will the system crash? Well, Steven Spielberg thought so, but then didn't. At this rate, if budgets keep getting higher, it just makes sense for that to happen, because that's what happens with money. There's room for every kind of movie, every genre of music, everything has an audience these days. I don't know, man. There'll still be cinemas around. If vinyl can stick around when Spotify exists, I don't see why not. Virtual reality cinemas? Maybe even a whole new medium? Born out of fucking virtual reality, Pokemon Go, virtual shit. I don't know. What do you think?